Hi guys, Lucas from Lucas Cars, and today we're actually starting something with the BMW. I've had this for maybe a month now, possibly. First things first though is the boot is crusty. With this car, I got a spare boot with it, which is down here that you can see. It's just slightly better condition because this one's got all this shit on it, which just doesn't look great. You could technically sand this and probably repaint it, but I got a spare boot, so we're just going to swap the boot. That's today's job, really. We're going to start with that and then we're going to go from there, really. So don't really know how to do this as such yet, but I'm going to do some Googling and we're going to just do it. I can't imagine it's too hard, to be fair, just be undoing the struts and then something around there. But let's crack on with it. So it's a T25, you said? Torx-bit. Yeah. That's what Torx-bit is, just to undo them. So they're the main 4 bolts, we just popped. There we go, they might have been loose, but... Said caps just come off there, popped off with a screwdriver. That was actually pretty easy to do. And then just loosen these gently. And then they're the main bit, and then it'll just be getting the struts popped off, which might be interesting. Never done that before, so yeah. So just pin this, get this clip out of the screwdriver, like so. Pop that out. Come on, Gabby, you can do it. Put your back in. There we go. Don't lose it.
Has somebody got the boot?
Yeah, I've got the boot. Me and Gabby both got it. And then it slides off. They doesn't need to come off that bit. That can stay where it is.
All good.
The other one just fell off.
All gravy.
Now we just need to undo these 4 bolts. And then we got to do some of these cables that we've seemed to have all ignored.
I haven't ignored them. I just haven't got to them yet.
This takes ages to get off. It's not enjoyable. We couldn't find any videos on how to do it. There's 2 like circle clips, which there's one of them. You just have to get a hammer and just snap it off. There could be a better way to do that. I didn't know how to do it, so we just had to snap them off, and the rest we just pulled it and it popped off. It's not
drift car though, so I don't need
It's not a drift car. We don't know what we're doing with it yet. I kind of want it to look pretty, not strip it out, but that's off now. Don't think we're really any further forward. So we're just on the interior whilst they're faffing with doing some of the boot clips and stuff. Just thought I'd show you my lovely custom steering wheel that we've got in. I wanted something sleek. I used to race for F1 back in 2015, so wanted the flat bottom. Reminds me of my Ferrari F1 car that I used to drive. Blue for BMW blue. Bit of silver shining through for the 350. Just the other car that I've got, do you know what I mean? Standard, really. Secured by 3, because triangles is the strongest shape. And the Chinese writing on there just to show build quality. Build quality. So just race car. I'm ready to let her rip. Once this boot swapped, hit the street, do some sensible street driving in this vehicle. Can visual it already. It's going to be great. But anyway, enough of the interior with this fancy steering wheel. I just want to shut off quickly. Let's get back to the boot. So Alex and Craig have been cracking on with the boot whilst we've been faffing the interior. If Craig, you want to talk us through what you've done, basically?
Yeah, well, we broke all the trim off. Gabby did.
I didn't.
Yeah, that was the worst bit, and then we've just basically unplugged all the cables, all these, pulled them off, and pulled them all back through a hole in here, which was a pig of a job. Don't recommend it. Get somebody else to change your boot for you. No,
we're the Lucas Cars Academy team. We like to challenge ourselves, and this has been a challenge. We basically just got to undo the 4 bolts now, boot off.
Beam a tip, do what Lucas did and get one of your friends to do it while you faff around with the interior.
I mean, technically you just joined in and you just took control, and I just got other things.
The interior looks. Hang on, there you
go. Whilst they're still faffing the boot, I was bored. So we're now looking at our rear interior pieces. I just wanted to see what we could do with all these bits, because I don't know what's actually here. That was a door card. Oh yeah, I remember we put them in here. I don't know if to do anything about them bits. We might have to go around the other side and pull everything out, and then we can put stuff back in. These seats look pretty good though, to be fair. Rather than being a bit grubby, that's not actually that bad. So we're faffing the back seats. This bracket looks like the one that we need to undo to basically release this clamp to slide the seat in. That's what we're going with. And then we'll take this out. So this is the back. We've put actually the rear interior in now. We just realised that we don't have any seat belts. So that's an issue in itself, which maybe pushes us towards just doing a rear interior delete. But it's just nice to see it in. I've never sat in the back of one of these.
Never seen it in.
Look at the space. This is great. I want a compact now for the road because this is good. But it looks slightly more better of a car now than just a stripped out thing that with just shit in it. So, but we'll jump back to boot bits anyway. So we've got the boot off now. That took ages to do. Not going to pretend that was an easy job because it really wasn't. So this is the section that attaches the boot to the car. It basically goes, that hooks in like that, and then your boot's onto this section. We undid these and we're trying to sort of hook it around to then pull out like that. That looks really easy, but with the boot on, it just doesn't do that, because if you're doing that, it just hits there because of the metal. So we ended up just undoing these 2 bolts, which you have to go into the top of the boot and undo, and it literally just come off. It took like 2 minutes when we figured that out, but before then it was a right faff. But that kind of is the first major bit done, I guess. Shouldn't have been something hard to do, but with everything with cars, everything's tricky. But this is like the first section. I mean, you're all going to see all this in one video, but this is our night 1 done with the BMW. We've done the interior mainly, apart from the door cards, which it looks better, and the boot's off, so good progress so far. And then we'll be back out tomorrow doing, I guess, getting it on, which I'm not looking forward to either. But yeah, till tomorrow. Hello, welcome back to day 2 on the whole BMW thing. So where we left off, obviously we got the boot off after a right faff of just messing around, and eventually just realising you just unbolt these brackets. Leaves the wire in, which basically sits inside the boot lid itself. So this is said old boot, this is said new boot. The things that I was going to crack on with before any of the lads get here was changing this section over here, which I think that's the wiper mechanism I'm going to go with. I don't think it has a wiper on it, but we might as well move it across. Do you know what I mean? In the event someone wants to put a wiper on it, or in the event I want to put a wiper on it. The locking mechanism, I'm not really too sure on how to faff with that. I'd assume they're going to be different because they're different boots. But I'm going to start with that first because that's easier, and then I might do that, or I might just come back to that later on. I mean, there's that out now. That was actually pretty easy to do, just a 10mm socket on Z3 points, which is 1, 2, and the one back there, which is 3. So we're just going to transfer that across basically. Just seeing what the rubber hole's like on that side for the boot. I mean, it's got one. Well, it should just be a straight swap. I'll put that in and then I'll show you that in if it goes to plan, which it should. Okay, so that is bolted in now, and I've actually pulled out the key mechanism bit as well, which is here. I didn't think it'd be as easy as it was. I'm going to show you, basically. So I started actually on the new boot, which I probably shouldn't have in case I broke something, but just to show you how it's done. Okay, so just undone them 2 bolts there. They are with the 10mm socket. So you got this bit here. You literally, so you see it's got like a pin here, and you just pull, and then it'll pop off, he says. I'm going to do it without the camera in my hand. Yay. And there you go. I couldn't do it with one hand, unfortunately, but that was the one that was in there. I had to pop it out, and the same with the other one that went in the middle, which is now dangling over there. And then this will just twist out, like so. And then we just put this in the other one, and it should just plug in how we took it out, he says. I don't know, I'll rest you there whilst I faff. That is bolted in now. The reason that didn't pop, I've just done it. There's an indent basically in that plastic, which you can see there. It's not going to focus. Where this rod goes is an indent. I didn't have it in the indent basically. Now it's popped in. That is done. I was so surprised how easy that was. So now the key will actually work on this boot. Good stuff. Next up really is getting this boot onto the car, which one-man job probably isn't that. So now I've jumped onto another random bit with the BMW. We're doing the clutch slave cylinder. This is a new one. It was in a box. We just opened it, but I didn't see the point of unboxing it. The last one in this car is just dangling underneath. We've just undone the bolt, which is the one that goes into there. We're going to jump under the car. We're going to undo that one. We're going to connect it up. The correct way to do this is to drain the fluids and stuff, but we're going to just put it in first. I've not bought any of the fluids or the pump to get all the fluids out, so I'm just going to swap it, then I can do that at a later date. I'm just a bit eager to get it in, I suppose. So we've just took the other one off. I'm just connecting this up. It basically just tighten this bit in. This is a it's 11mm, which is weird because I watched a video on this before we tackled the job as you do, and the guy was like 7mm. So I think it varies on like generation of what that size is, I guess. I'm going to slide that into it. It lives in a port up here. There we go. And then we'll get our spanner, which, sorry, Matthew. And then we can tighten that up. Which,
I don't know how much of that I can see.
it's all good. So we've found some nuts, just generic ones to put on the end of here just to tighten it down. Very awkward without a lift, but I mean it isn't actually that bad compared to I can imagine some cars. Just hoping this will tie. I don't know how, if it's just, yeah, it's just taking a while to get down. So worried that it's just spinning. There we go, it's getting tight now. Before we crank that, we are going to get the other side on, which is good.
Okay. If I help me flip it and then you can undo the bolts. I can do something!
The boys are in now anyway, so we can get the boot on, which is good. We're going to take their mounts off, which I showed you previously. We're going to get them on. Yeah, we're going to get them on, or taken off, put on the boot, and then we should be able to bolt that on, and then it should look a bit better or more of a car then.
You're not much help here, are you?
The boot's on now. It's basic to do it, but it's basic and actually doing it is two different things. It is just getting them two bolts on, which is the bracket, and then bolting the boot to the bracket via two at the top, which we dropped numerous times and then fell into the boot and we had to take it off and get them out. But it's done now. The next job is just getting the wiring in. The boot, we did try the alignment, is slightly to one side, which I don't think is too big of a deal. From correct to rather loosen them slightly and shuffle it, or we loosen them and shuffle it. Not sure which one yet, but it shouldn't be too big of a deal. But that is on, which is the next big step. So, big win.